So I always used to be a fan of Cable, even back when I was a kid. Back when I used to play the Uncanny X-Men Adventure game, Cable would always be one of the first people I would play as, him and Gambit. I think it's because I like his look, I like his character, I like his weapons, like everything about him like was cool to me as a kid. And I think a lot of it has to do with the fact that I was a huge fan of 80s action heroes, the Arnolds, the Stallones, and Cable reminded me a lot of that. So when I found out that Cable not only had his own series, but was only 3 issues in, I decided, now is a perfect chance to jump in and, see if he's still as great as I remembered him being. So I'm just gonna come out and say right now, the series is actually pretty damn good. Like it's not the greatest. It's not like the Citizen Kane of comics or anything like that. If I were to compare it to movies, I would say it's a popcorn flick. It's not going to win any awards, but it sure as hell is entertaining. And in the end, that's all that really matters. So the series has Cable traveling through the time stream as he chases after a villain. We don't really know who he's chasing, other than the fact that whoever it is giving futuristic weapons to the people he meets in the past, and those people end up trying to attack and kill Cable. In the first issue, we had him going back into the Old West. In the second issue, we had him going to ancient Japan. And in this issue, we have him taking on the Mayans. Now, this is something that really interested me. I couldn't believe my eyes when I actually saw it. So the editor, Mark, associate editor, Mark, assistant editor, Chris. We actually have all males in terms of the editors. So far, Cable has been the only series so far I've seen from Marvel where the assistant editor isn't a female. Color me shocked. Like, I'm really surprised about that. So we start off with a Mayan getting chased by his fellow Mayans. His name is Kagan. And these Mayans have some kind of futuristic wings. And for anyone who's read the first 2 issues, we know that they got this power from whoever it is that Cable is chasing. And right before they can kill off Kagan, Cable appears. The artwork is pretty good. And Kagan tells him, everyone knows your name. We were told of your arrival and we were told to go after you. And basically we find out that the man that Cable's chasing is a man called Conquest. I've never heard of Conquest before, so I don't know if he's just like created for this issue or if he's a character that has appeared in previous comics. I'm pretty sure it's the latter, but Conquest is new to me, never heard of him. So anyways, Kagan takes Cable back to his village, and we see that it's very like technologically advanced. Like, it's not what you would expect from a Mayan city. It has like this whole like ancient alien vibes, and that's a thing that we will see throughout this. So Kagan tells him that he's a priest and that his temple is hidden right under the noses of those who would harm me. So they enter, and we get this pretty sweet page, and Kagan tells him that what you see is a signpost to the truth. And we find out that Kagan is one who seeks and preserves knowledge. And Kagan informs Cable that Conquest is searching for a certain relic called the Time Sword, which kind of reminds me more of the Blades of Chaos from God of War. I mean, that looks more like the dagger than it does an actual sword. But yeah, there's a Time Sword. But yeah, the sword has power, and the sword has been broken to 5 pieces and scattered throughout history. And that's what Conquest is after. That's why Conquest keeps jumping through time, is because he's trying to collect the pieces of this time source so he can assemble them together. And Cable says, well, he already has 3 pieces. So he got 1 piece from the Wild West. He got a 2nd piece from the ancient Japan. And the 3rd piece he got here from the Mayans. So basically, since there are 5 pieces of the Time Sword and Conquest has 3, that means that there's only 2 locations left. So since he already got the ones from the Mayans, he has already jumped, which means that he could possibly be collecting the 4th piece, which means that there's only really 1 piece left for Cable to collect, but he doesn't know which piece it is, because there's 2 ways he can go. If he jumps to one place that has a Time Sword, he can get it before Conquest does. If he jumps to the place that Conquest has jumped to after the Mayans, then he's going to be behind Conquest once again, and Conquest will most likely get the 4th sword. So he has to basically make the correct jump. So they bid their farewells, and Cable battles his way up the temple. And this little scene right here reminded me of, I'm not sure if anyone had played Mortal Kombat Armageddon. If anyone remembers the intro, where we have all the Mortal Kombat characters fighting up the temple. That's what this kind of reminded me of. It's a cool little scene, because we get basically the whole temple as one huge page, and then it's broken up into panels where we see Cable like climbing up, him battling on the stairs, and slowly making his way up the temple. So he fights his way in, takes on a huge army of Mayans who are no match for his futuristic guns. So then he makes some type where he sees the little glyph that has sent him through time in the previous issues. So then he travels through time, wakes up in the snow, and is immediately shot from behind. So then we meet Conquest, and he has teamed up with the Russians in the year 1908, and that's how the issue ends. So like I said, so far so good. This issue reminded me a lot of like Ancient Aliens with the whole Mayans and technology and all that stuff. But it's good. I mean, there's a decent amount of action. The dialogue was pretty fast, but like told us what we needed to know. That was the problem that Marvel kind of has, is that a lot of comics are dialogue heavy, but this one had like, so far this series has really good action scenes, and I'm interested. I'm not going to say it's a great comic. It's not amazing or anything like that, but it's good. It's above average. I guess if I were to grade it, I'd give it a B minus. It's like I said, if it was a movie, it wouldn't win any awards or anything like that, but it's a good popcorn flick. It's entertaining, and in the end, that's all that really matters, right? That you're entertained. So I was highly entertained. I'm definitely going to be checking out future issues. So that's Cable issue number 3. Hope you guys enjoyed. Anyone else been reading Cable? What do you guys think so far of the series? I like the premise of him traveling through time chasing after someone. I don't know why. Kind of reminded me of Dark Towers with Roland chasing after the Man in Black. Only this time, like, Cable is like chasing him through time. But yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed, and I'll catch you guys all next time. Later.